As we delve into the bizarre realm of movie blunders, you'll both grimace and laugh. Today, we'll show you examples of such unsuitable errors, ranging from bizarre wardrobe choices to historical errors. But before we begin, please remember to press the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and show your support by liking and sharing the video. And having said that, let's start. A local Cairorite is dressed in jeans from Raiders of the Lost Ark. In Steven Spielberg's initial adventures with Indiana Jones, which is a cinematic gem, there's just one tiny hiccup. One can see there's a moment when our hero Indy is sipping on a drink, heartbroken over what seems like losing the love of his life. And then, in the bustling streets of 1930s Cairo, Egypt, a guy strolls past in plain jeans and a t-shirt. Now, historical accuracy might raise an eyebrow here, as people in that era and place definitely didn't sport such modern attire. But the scene is so brilliantly gripping that it's quite possible most viewers won't even catch this wardrobe slip-up. A Civil War soldier wearing a watch in Glory. Glory stands as an exceptional, impactful cinematic masterpiece, portraying the era of the Civil War. It's essential to note that in 1863, the concept of digital wristwatches was entirely non-existent. In fact, it would take another 53 years before wristwatches found their way onto people's wrists. While it may seem like a minor detail, there's an intriguing observation here. It seems that one has momentarily forgotten the dedication to their character in one scene. However, the fact that this oversight managed to find its way into the final version of the film, making it a remarkable and somewhat perplexing facet of filmmaking. Kilts had not yet been created when the movie Braveheart was released. The iconic Scottish kilt didn't become popular until the 16th century, but Mel Gibson's renowned Scottish battle epic Braveheart transports us to the 13th century, a time before that. The real Scottish facial paint of the time is depicted in the movie fairly, but it's vital to keep in mind that the now famous kilts we identify with Scotland were not worn at the same time as the distinctive face decoration. So, while Braveheart captures the spirit of that historical period, some details like the kilts are from a different time in Scottish fashion history. Short shorts weren't yet common when Dirty Dancing was released. It seems that Baby, the character portrayed by Jennifer Grey in the iconic movie Dirty Dancing, wasn't confined to just dance corners, but also had a unique sense of fashion. In an image, one can observe Baby sporting a pair of jean shorts. Now, when we think of jean shorts, we often associate them with the 1970s, a time when they gained immense popularity, all thanks to influential rock icons like Patti Smith and Debbie Harry. However, it's worth noting that before that era, teenagers weren't as commonly seen in these distinctive cutoff jean shorts, which has since become an enduring fashion trend. Tom Cruise's outdated armor from The Last Samurai. In the movie The Last Samurai, Tom Cruise takes on the role of a retired US officer during the year 1870. His character embarks on a remarkable journey, engaging in battle alongside Japanese samurai warriors. Interestingly, it appears that the creative minds behind the film's costume design wanted to infuse a bit of uniqueness into the visuals. Rather than strictly adhering to the historically accurate armor worn by the 19th century samurai, they opted for a creative twist. In a somewhat unconventional move, Cruise and his fellow actors were dressed in the armor that harkened back to 2 centuries earlier, lending an intriguing blend of historical accuracy and artistic flair to the film's aesthetic. Schindler's List: The lack of shaving among women in concentration camps. In the movie Schindler's List, the women characters are shown with perfectly smooth legs and armpits. However, this portrayal doesn't accurately reflect the reality of women in concentration camps during that time. In concentration camps, women endured unimaginable suffering and deprivation, and they wouldn't have had access to basic amenities like razors. This discrepancy between the film's depiction and historical accuracy is often missed and overlooked. The British Navy was not scarlet in the Pirates of the Caribbean film. The arrival of the Redcoats is imminent, but they've made an early appearance. In the initial installment of the Pirates of the Caribbean film series, the story unfolds in the 1720s. However, it's worth noting that the iconic Redcoats weren't introduced to the British military until 1747. Before that pivotal year, the soldiers indeed wore red uniforms, but it wasn't the vibrant scarlet we associate with the Redcoats. Instead, their attire featured a darker, more budget-friendly shade known as madder red. The brilliant scarlet coats were a privilege reserved for officers and sergeants during that era. Han Solo's dress will shock you in The Empire Strikes Back. In the beloved romantic scene from the second Star Wars film, there are a few noticeable errors that catch the eye. To start with, Han Solo's restraints seem to have a mind of their own. They appear, disappear, and reappear in a seemingly random pattern as we switch between scenes. And if that weren't enough, when we cut to the moment when he's frozen, his restraints miraculously vanish again. Furthermore, in one of the last glimpses of Han, he magically dons his jacket, a stark contrast to the previous shots where he was clearly without it. It's almost as if the concept of continuity took a vacation in a galaxy far, far away. Too many purple robes in Pompeii. In the movie Pompeii, we notice that some of the wealthier individuals are adorned in striking purple robes. This choice of clothing may seem daring and audacious when we consider the historical context. You see, back in the days, the color purple held a special significance. It was a hue reserved for the nobility due to the extraordinary cost of producing the dye needed to create it. The reigning emperor during that era, Nero, went to great lengths to maintain his exclusive right to wear purple. In fact, he issued a decree that banned anyone else from using this royal color. Violating this law wasn't taken lightly. It carried a grave penalty. Death was the punishment for those who dared to defy the emperor's edict. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets showed some unrealistic things. In the thrilling duel scene from the second Harry Potter movie, something rather amusing happens. Amidst Harry's fellow classmates, there's an unexpected presence, a crew member who's clearly not a child. Interestingly, during the editing process, this crew member wasn't entirely removed, but rather cleverly concealed by darkening the background. The idea behind this decision was to avoid the hassle of reshooting the entire scene. However, if you have a keen eye and know where to focus your attention, you can still catch a glimpse of this sneaky crew member. It's like a little secret hidden in plain sight for those in the know. Kevin Costner's lapels in The Untouchables are incorrect. The Untouchables is a movie that takes place in the 1930s, a time known for its distinctive fashion. In the film, Kevin Costner's suit stands out as a clear representation of the 1980s style, even though the story is set in the 30s. Now, moving forward into the fashion details of that era for a better understanding. During the 1930s, suits typically featured lapels, but they were quite different from what we see on Costner here. In that era, lapels were known for being significantly larger and more prominent, often extending to cover half of the chest. These lapels also had a distinctive pointed shape that added the unique style of the time. Additionally, double-breasted coats were a common sight in the fashion landscape of the Depression era. Sports shorts in Gladiator. In the epic movie Gladiator, there's a little-known blunder that keen-eyed fans have noticed, aside from the famous jeans-wearing extra. During the intense Colosseum battle against the retired champion, Maximus faces an unexpected stumble, sending him tumbling into the dusty arena. As he gracefully regains his footing, the sharp-eyed observer can't help but spot a peculiar detail. Russell Crowe, the actor portraying Maximus, is unexpectedly sporting a pair of modern black shorts beneath his traditional blue slave attire. This subtle anachronism adds an intriguing twist to an otherwise flawless Oscar-winning film. Moving on to the next is Troy, where Orlando makes a tunic adjustment. Remember Orlando? So one couldn't help but notice the striking voluminous curls. They're quite the attention grabber. However, even those luscious locks couldn't distract us from the quick adjustment you made to your slipping shoulder strap while on set. It was a swift transformation from a shoulder in plain view to a discreetly covered one. Perhaps you believed that this subtle adjustment would escape our notice, allowing you to reveal a bit less skin. Well, not a chance. We've got a keen eye for those details. Portman's hair ought to have been pulled back in The Other Boleyn Girl. Now, let's talk about what Natalie Portman was wearing in 16th century France. She's got the right kind of hood that women would wear back then, but there's a little fall off. In those days, this kind of hood usually had a see-through piece of fabric or a veil with it. Women of the time would carefully tuck their hair under it. It was actually quite scandalous for a high-class lady to let her hair show in public. And here comes last but not the least, the cinema. Back to the Future. This guitar had not yet been invented, which showed in Back to the Future. In a super famous part of an all-time amazing movie, we see Marty McFly, who's played by the awesome Michael J. Fox, rocking out on a guitar. The song he's playing is called Johnny Be Good, and the guitar he's using is a really cool one called the ES-345 model Gibson. But the guitar he was using was actually made back in 1958. The thing is, the movie itself took place in 1955, so it's kind of like having a time travel hiccup because the guitar shouldn't exist in the time according to the movie's timeline. And that's all for now. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell. Because trust me, you don't want to miss out on the exciting content that's just around the corner. This is your host signing off, wishing you all an awesome day. Stay tuned!